The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 3 reaction show and power rankings episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick-up for a chance to win 100 times the amount of money you can enter in UFL, NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, golf, and much, much more. Sign up today using the promo code TCE SGPN. You get a 100% deposit match. Plus, the NFL draft is coming up, and the Old-Fashioned Football Podcast is giving away some autographed NFL merch to help celebrate. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/off contest. That's OFF contest to enter today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Football is a unique American experience. A game described by one turn-of-the-century critic as crude and barbaric, with little chance of survival. But survive it did.
I don't give a damn who you are. This America, Jack. You know how to play winning Cardinals football? Wait, I don't get it. Being played in the United States Football League. Touchdown! Oh my God! Quarterback is toast. We sometimes forget that football, being the consummate team sport, is a great deal more successful when you do play as a unit and don't rely on individual talent. Frankly, I'm impressed with the USFL. America, this league is good for America, and football is a sport that is made for television. It's football. I'm like, string football is going to work in America. You play to win the game. And now it is time for our USFL report.
And we're back. Yes, the fans have wanted that intro music, so I am supplying the fans or fan that has contacted me multiple times from different platforms. I'm not sure if it's 1 or 3, but either way, we listen to our fans or fan here on the UFL Gambling Podcast Week 3 reaction show and power rankings episode. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
Yes, you can watch this episode, youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. That's also our home of our Twitter account. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow button. We got games and everything. We got episodes and everything going on. We got cameras. It's a major league thing. We got uniforms and everything, right? You guys catch that one? I don't fucking know. I am joined by my co-host. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. He will be live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this weekend. Remind me the name of the club again.
Laughing Tap.
Laughing Tap. Get yourself out there. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. They call him the man in the box, aka the bet detective. Give it up for CJ Sullivan. How you doing, buddy?
What's up there, fellas? Great weekend of UFL action. It had everything. It had domination, absurd rules, league joke, league unseriousness of victories and results, and then and then bragging about it. And yeah, it was great. So here we are. Can't wait to take on the Redditors.
I mean,
Well, I don't get.
What a way to start.
Bring the in cold, but they're.
Third man in the booth. Give it up for him. He is the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. They are giving away all types of gear. For the NFL draft. So check out. And I was just a guest on the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, but they got all types of gear. They might even have Larry Johnson's jockstrap. I don't fucking remember. But give it up for Justin Mark, aka J Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm not doing great after my shitty weekend of picks. Sorry, everybody. If it makes you feel any better, I lost my fucking money on those two. So, but I hit my lock. So I guess I'll hang my hat on that. Hit the lock.
They don't listen to your picks anyway. They tailed us. We went 3-1. Easy,
3-1, 3-1, dominating. And my power rankings, I think, look better and better and better. We're gonna talk all about it. But first,
speaking of tide turning, though, by the way, I told you those overs were coming, and they came hard.
Well, I took 2 overs. I'll be honest, 2 of them should have hit the week before too. That was some bullshit on the unders.
Yeah.
I did all. I mean, did all right. I did all right. On I think altogether I was 7-3 on. Wait, no. I was 3-1. I was 5-3 in the 8 wagers regarding all of that, but 3-1 ATS. Folks, before we start recapping game 1, I want to tell you the NFL draft is just around the corner. It's some old-fashioned football. The Old-Fashioned Football Podcast is giving away some autographed merch to help celebrate. JSN, Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins, Frank Gore, and many, many more. Old-Fashioned Football. That's some of the merch they're giving away. I'm just throwing out some hints there. Old-Fashioned Football. Come for the football, stay for the whiskey. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/off contest. That's OFF contest, and check it out. Merch. Come on, who doesn't want some? And look, I got the LA Wildcats shit back there, hoping for their. I don't even know. I just found it. I said, let me throw it up in the fucking screen so people know that I spent my hard-earned money down there at the Dignity Health Center. Check it out. The Extreme Football League, where crossroads meet bullshit. I don't know. All right.
You saw they changed their Twitter, right?
I did. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. LA Wildcats. Let's go. So game 1. Once again, much like last week, prepare for the most amount of bitching from me in game 1.
Yeah.
So Defenders 29, Renegades 28. I was bitching online, and I got into it with people that thought that the Defenders deserved to win that game. And I want to bring this stat up. I went through last year's XFL. In the previous 2 years, USFL. Now, I did not look at the COVID year XFL, to be fair, where I got that LA Wildcats towel. There was not one time where a team was outgained, by basically almost 200 yards. And also, the time of possession had a 19-minute advantage. But just in general, I couldn't find an instance where a team was outgained this severely and the other team won the game. This is my point on the rule being awful. And I only think I don't think your average person that thinks about the league, this is going to destroy the playoffs because your better teams are not winning. So long term, if you want good games, it's a stupid model to have. The Defenders were down the entire game. If you dive into the stats on this, they only had 259 yards of offense. And even that is, a little bit bogus off of the extra possession there, but, they got dominated. Arlington had 420 yards of offense. They had no business. They were down what,
they ran 25 more plays.
Dude. The time of possession, Arlington had 39 minutes and 24 seconds to 20 minutes and 32 seconds. This is what I'm talking about by this rule.
And usually okay, well, they must have had 4 turnovers or something. No, turnover battle was fine. It was even. It was just like that. It was literally just the rule.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This rule is horrible. Even 4th and 15, which I know that they had last year.
Let's talk about why did they short the 4th and 12? I don't know. Whatever.
It's just so stupid to me. And do you the problem is you're making it. You say, oh, the game's never out of reach, so people will view.
No, I get why they do it. Yeah,
but that's dumb logic because then your shittier teams are gonna win, and when your shittier teams win, it makes for a shittier product.
Here's the problem with it. Besides this being the 4th and 12, which is insane. It's a normal play. 12 yards is absolutely nothing. I don't understand why teams don't opt in for this all the time, to be honest with you. Like, I don't understand
that is shocking to me.
Why
like,
are you even kicking the ball?
Yeah,
Who cares?
yeah.
You can get a 4th and 12 and keep the ball back. And it was so evident with this game. This seemed more outrageous than the San Antonio Memphis game for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have said that.
Because Memphis, you're like, well, there's a little element of you should have got more, you should have scored more in touchdowns when you had in the red zone. You took it upon yourself by keeping them in the game with the field goals and stuff. It didn't feel like this at all. This feels like this was Arlington's game. They played great.
But at least DC had the lead like early third quarter.
Dominated. I know, right?
The other game last week, like Memphis was in charge the entire fucking game. I think I would push back a little bit and say last week's was worse, but this is still from a yards because one of the things by getting the 4th and 12, it throws it basically
which was offensive interference, by the way, that 4th and 12. But no one cares because it's such chaos. When you get the 4th and 12, then they're on the ball because the clock's running. This thing should fucking stop right there.
Yeah.
And now the defense is gassed. They're just on the field for an entire scoring drive. Now they're on the field again for this play, and now it's on the ball. Now it was so inevitable. They're dropping the picks, and then they go right down the field goal range because it never stops. It's like a running clock. Like they need to fucking slow this down.
Well, and I think that's part of the thing that I've seen people complain. Someone that was an Arlington fan was saying, the defense is tired. You've been on the field all day. Like, yes, should you not give up a 4th and 12? Sure, but to lose a game when you've dominated a game for 58 minutes, 59 minutes, is pathetic. To lose a game in this way. I just don't understand what they're doing. Like, to me, like it's only going to hurt their product long term.
And what also upset me more about this, and I understand the rule. You want to make it. You're trying to separate yourself, but you also don't want to gimmick the game too much. And 4th and 12 is too gimmicky. 15, I'll tolerate. It should be 20. But then for them to brag about what's upsetting, and I must footnote this that Arlington was a loss. I did have money on, and it was my only loss. But still, maybe it's still from that. But and then for the XFL to promote, I mean, they promote this hard, like on their Twitter account, or the UFL, I should say, promotes this hard. They're like, "Oh, what a great comeback! Just when you thought we were out," and all the comments underneath are like, fuck this rule. This is bullshit." And they're just like bragging about without any context of what it is. Like, look at this comeback here. Like, well, why did this comeback happen? It's because of you and its absurd rules. And I don't know, for them to just lean on it and not even note of that they have something to do with this. It's just seemed grosser. That's all.
When you're outgained that severely,
I know.
Like normally I know sometimes like you get a couple pick sixes and the numbers are going to be out of whack. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. There was no turnovers. Yeah. It was just this. It's just this rule. And if they got to stop the clock. Even after you pick up the 4th and 12, you can't just be on the ball. Clock is running. If it's a kickoff, if it's an actual onside kick, then treat it like a kick. Stop it and let them set up. Let the defense didn't even seem like they were lined up once the drive started happening. Once they got the ball in the 4th and 12.
And shout out to Welcome to UAB, who I know is a big fan of the pod. I know he had his huge issues with it. I don't think he even had money on it. He's just a Birmingham fan, but
yeah,
he was tweeting out that this rule is crap, and he goes, the recovery rate on onside kicks is when he used college because the NFL's onside kick rule is really bad. He said, and he said is 23.8%. The chances of converting a 4th and 12 in the NFL are almost 32%. To make it, the trend, it should be at least 4th and 15, which is a 20-something percent conversion rate in the NFL. J Mark, your thoughts on this game and the outcome, and do you think it's good for the league?
No, not at all. To touch on the 4th and 12, I mean, 4th and 15, which they had last year, I felt like I don't have the percentages, but it felt like it hit about 50%, which is what you expect. You get this one shot, it's a 50-50, maybe we get it. 4th and 12, you're giving the advantage to the offense, who the defense is gassed, like CJ said. I thought that was an excellent point when he messaged us about that. It's like, yeah, they're gassed. They're already gassed. How are they supposed to stop this now, especially when they only need 12 yards? And then the way that the UFL is promoting, like, this is why that this is the best league. Does it not feel too much like the WWE, the wrestling? It feels like the good guy, or the guy that you thought was going to win, got the shit beat out of him for 58 minutes, and then all of a sudden here's the other one, and he pops back and wins, and it's like I've never been a hey, football is scripted type of person, but when you watch shit like this, it's like, what are they just doing this for entertainment? Is it just for entertainment to them?
And it seems like it discredits their actual product of the game, where they think they need this.
Well, and that's
themselves. I'm like, you have faith in what you're putting out there in the game. We're with the actual talent out there in the game itself. You don't need this to juice it up and say, oh, this is how we're different. We're more fun.
That's my problem. That's my biggest problem. And you just hit it right on the head, CJ, is, to me, if you're going to do a league, like, oh, you want to be gimmicky. To me, you want to be gimmicky. It's not in the rules. It's to me, like, one of the things why I prefer the college game to pro is you have variance. You have triple option teams. You have run and shoot teams. You have air raid teams. You have I-form. Jim Harbaugh just won one out of the fucking I-form pretty much. A national championship, that is. But to me, one of the things I think the UFL could do if they wanted to be like gimmicky, you have that double pass. You have that double pass rule. Why isn't it? I mean, to me, like, I would just target coaches where you're going to run. I don't know. This guy's going to run out of the Wildcat, and they'll utilize the double pass. Oh, this team's going to go old school and just run the fuck out of the ball. I would love to see variance instead of bullshit rules that ruin the game. Because to me, with variance, at least I think the game evolves. You know what I mean? Like, with this, it just seems cheap. It just seems like you just got robbed of money. I mean, I know we bet on it, so we truly did. But I'm saying, it just seems like, what did I just watch? What was the point of me watching that? You watched to see the better team win. The better team did not win for the second week in a row at this time slot on this cockanimi rule. I don't know.
Maybe they need to add the rouge.
Anyway.
From the CFL.
That being said, Luis Perez looked great in a lot of our lineups. He threw for 290, did he? Basically, I think Arlington. What is the futures on them, by the way?
Oh, we got to jump in.
I mean, we
got to jump in. They're better. I'm telling you, after watching,
they're better than they were last year. That's for sure. And they're the champs.
Dude, they're gonna be like, San Antonio benefited from this bullshit a week ago. They're not a good football team, right? And I still. We'll our rankings in a bit, but I just feel like there's a value right now.
Whatever the future is,
let me see if I can pull that up. Let me see if I can quickly pull that up. But anything else you want to add, J Mark?
No, I got it right here, right now at the book I'm looking at. Anyways, Arlington is 20-1.
Oh, I see DK 22-1, 22-1.
Get down on that. I mean, this isn't betting on Houston at 0-3. This team, they have the second best offense in the league. Now, granted, their defense is allowed about 83
But
points.
that whole XFL defense, the whole XFL conference's defenses are shit.
Yeah.
Like, literally watching the games, I was like, man, I don't think any of these teams will fuck with, like, and
no, of course not.
I'll go back to my power rankings, CJ, but I feel pretty good about my power rankings performance the other day. Maybe minus Arlington, even though they lost. I still am more sold that they are one of the better teams in the league. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about this game? I mean, I guess we could talk about DC is now somehow 2-1, and
I will say, you guys laughed at my Memphis 7th power ranking, by the way. They keep pissing away down the line. I'll just say that.
I still think they're better than fucking DC.
I know you do.
Yeah. DC is 2-1, and look, I want DC to be good. This is the team, like, throw away gambling. This is the team I would root for more than any team in the league, just because I know what DC fans have had to deal with Dan Snyder and then changing the fucking name to the Commanders and all that bullshit. I know I sympathize with that's a football craved area. And to me, they don't have anything to really, meet their needs. So this is it, but it seems so cheap. They're not a good team.
And Reggie Barlow, I'm starting to lose faith in him. I love Reggie Barlow.
What do you mean? He's 2-1. They're gonna win they're gonna win the Freedom Cup.
He punted again, 4th and 1. and the announcers are like, yeah, it's the right decision. He's on their side of the 50. They're on the 49-yard line. The 49. But they're under this side of the 40. And the defense is playing good. The defense just gave up a touchdown drive. All right, whatever.
The announcers yesterday, the play-by-play guy, not the I don't know his name.
Again with this too, like over's looking good at first field goal, under's looking good, over. They keep flip-flopping. Stop fucking talking about gambling if you don't know what you're talking. Let Stormy handle it, or whoever that meathead is on the sideline.
I got multiple messages from some of our listeners saying how painful it is listening to them talk about gambling.
Because it's terrible. It's like it's like listening to your friend who knows nothing about it, asking you about asking what the point spread means, the whole thing, asking you about your bets. He could do nothing but jinx it. The guy yesterday, he's like, "Oh, I have the over 43.5," and it was at 43 with a full 4th quarter to go. He's like, "Oh, I'm not feeling good, but I'd still take the over 43.5 now." Yeah, well, you can't get that now. That's not what in live betting means, you idiots. You don't get the pregame line in the 4th quarter.
Yeah. Another thing though, to go back to our conversation, I think it would be cooler if you had a coach. Like I picture June Jones. Now I don't know that he would actually do this. I can't speak for him, but if you went for the 4th and 12 every time from the 28, like when you kick the ball, they get it at like the 50 anyway.
That's what I'm saying. And you get it at the 28, but right.
Yeah. But I'm saying the percentages of, holding defensive holding, a pass interference, a roughing the quarterback mixed in with your actual percentage of completing the play. I don't think it's that fucking far off. I would love to see a coach. I remember Presbyterian in the FCS a few years ago. Now this backfired. They kicked an onside kick every time they scored. Their defense was that bad that the coach was like, our percentages. And I was fascinated by it. I was like, I got to watch every Presbyterian game because I want to watch and see if this fucking thing works.
He didn't punt either, right? Okay.
Only if it was, he didn't punt much. I'll put it like that.
That's the other thing. Why is it at the 28? They're kicking off from the 20. Why isn't it from the 20?
But to me, I'd much rather see, like, if you're going to have this fucking silly ass rule, I want to see it like attacked on a consistent basis then. Because I want to see just to have it as a blemish late in the game. It's just like, I don't know.
So if you come up a yard short, like the San Antonio game, although they didn't show the replay when you thought it was actually short, like 11.5 yards. Now that's where the ball would be placed, the 11.5, like a normal fourth and 12.
And they didn't give us the chip. They didn't give us the chip there.
It doesn't even go back to the line of scrimmage. Like what? Then if that's the point, then you should go for it every single time for that onside kick.
I was scrolling down the interwebs and someone played that one. He didn't get that first down.
He didn't get the first down.
He got that first down.
But the chip
camera work was late. But yeah, I don't know.
The chip came in very handy this weekend, J Mark, don't you think?
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
But
find out that's not really a chip in the ball. It's where they placed it, and now the center moved it back, so that's why it's not showing the first down.
What the fuck was that, by the way?
They hype up this chip technology, and then okay, just to show you exactly, it's like 3 yards short. Now, don't take that as the Bible. That just means that the center must have moved it back a couple of yards, and then the ref kicked it. What? What do you then show it to us?
Sense.
What game was that? What was that the St. Louis game? What game was that where
I know McCarron was getting the kicker balls and all that shit. They kept mixing everything.
Did that make any sense? They're just like, we have the chip in the ball, but remember, it was before where it was marked.
Well, it's funny too. It's funny too. They have the graphic and automatically so it says turnover on downs. They're like, just ignore that. It's actually a first down. He just moved it back.
Well, and then they said that there is no chip in the ball anymore. It's where the cameras see it. They're going on a camera technology. What?
What the fuck are we doing here? Yeah,
like, that's just spotting the ball.
What is the point of the chip in the ball then?
There is none.
It's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. We love spring football. We want this league to be successful, but god damn it, they're stupid. How stupid can they be? Like, you're showing us this for the past 3 weeks, showing us that this is the indicator. And now you're telling us that it basically means nothing. And you only use it to your advantage when it proves your point, essentially.
True. Unless the center touches the ball. Damn him.
I've never seen a proper chip. Right. Why don't they show it when it's happening? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's bullshit. After whatever game that was, I know we were all texting. I want to say it was the Sunday morning game, right? Or was it Saturday night? That whatever game that was in, I got a pigeonhole what game that was in, because I was just like, what the fuck are they talking about? What is that? How does it make any sense?
Right.
So diving into the numbers, DC, they rushed for 82 yards. 82 yards. Once again, and even, another thing is that it makes the numbers so out of whack when you get an extra possession late. Like, it even makes it harder to, this is what's crazy is if they were basically outgained by 200 and they got the 4th and 12, it's like, what would this really have been if you actually had an onside kick? They were probably outgained by 300 yards, I felt it was the same way with the San Antonio game the week before, but I mean, I guess if you're a Defenders fan, you're saying, hey, we are looking good heading into, they've played 2 games on the road. Another thing is Arlington's fan turnout, not the greatest. What'd you make of the fan turnout, guys?
For
Arlington Choctaw Stadium, it was pretty bleak, I thought.
Oh, for Arlington, all of them did not look great. I'll tell you that much. Even the Birmingham night game.
The Birmingham, though, at least like certain angles. Once again, like I feel like that one.
And they made the genius decision, Birmingham, of going up against Alabama.
73,000.
Yeah.
Hey, this is another one, and I know this is our bitch episode because it's our reaction show, so we bitch. Why wasn't the Birmingham game on Sunday? So you put it up Saturday, where 73 Nick Saban leaves, and you have this brand new coach coming in. Saban's been there 15 years, probably the biggest story in college football over the past decade, I would say, has been Nick Saban. And you have this historic program and 73,000 fans coming out to the spring game. And you decide to play the Birmingham Stallions game at the same fucking time. How stupid. The spring game's been set like a month before. I mean, more than a month before, like 3 or 4 months before.
Oh yeah.
How do you fuck this up? How do you fuck this up? It's like you're trying to fail. It's like, well, if you just put that on Sunday, put it on Friday night. Why are you going toe to toe against a juggernaut in that fucking state where they don't have a pro team?
Well, that's the story. It should be on Friday night. That's what this game. You wanted to have it at night. You wanted to bring in, you want to honor the old quarterback. Make it a Friday night. Do it like in a high school football. You have nothing going up against absolutely nothing else.
Like you're literally battling 170 years of history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, like go to Alabama, and I don't care what month. I don't care. You could be at a fucking gymnastics event, and I guarantee you they're going to be talking about Saban or Alabama and how their starting quarterback will be. It is part of the culture down there, and you're going to go toe to toe with it. It's just stupid. Just stupid.
Doesn't that feel like a rock decision of like, oh, we can beat whatever? I mean, to me, it's like it's an ego thing. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, the reality of it is it's whatever the networks decide. They decide. They tell you exactly where their game is going to be on, when it is. The league itself probably has.
But you would think the network. You would think the network knows, and clearly they don't. But you would think that, hey, if we have a more crowded stadium, I think that works better for our TV product.
Yeah, they do, but they have time slots to fill, and that's it. That's basically all.
But here's the thing: if you just put the Sunday morning game on Saturday night, if you switch those, you're fine. You're fine. And then the next day, you get thousands of more fans will show up to the USFL game because they won't be at the Alabama game. It's This is not that hard.
Well, Michigan's got that Sunday morning slot wrapped up. I don't think they're legally allowed to have a game after 5 p.m. on a Saturday night. Probably there's some safety issues going on there.
Oh boy. We're gonna get to the next game, folks. But what I tell you, the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. And guess what? They got UFL action, so you're going to want to check out Underdog Fantasy. Pick whether your favorite player will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You could win 100 times the amount of money you enter in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick 'em entry. The more players you add, the higher the odds go. Sign up today with the promo code TCE SGPN. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100 as well as an instant pick 'em special. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Find them in the App Store. Don't forget to register with the promo code TCE SGPN to get your first deposit doubled as well. Up to $100 as well as an instant pickup special. All right, we are back on the UFL Gambling Podcast, and game 2 was a doozy as well because, yeah, some people were foolish enough to fade the Birmingham Stallions. I mean, I can tell you this, man. If you're gonna let Skip Holtz have Adrian Martinez and let him coach Adrian Martinez and make him better, which I think he will, just give him the championship now because first off, their quarterback room is incredible. Jamar Smith, their third string quarterback, has already won a championship. So you have that going on, but you add Matt Corral, who looked pretty decent, I thought, the first couple of weeks, but Martinez was dinged up in the first game. He went 18 of 28, 64% for 334 yards. He had 44 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. They're going to win the championship with him because Skip Holtz is one of the only logical fucking coaches in this league that says, hey, let's get a dual threat. It's hard to move the ball in these leagues. We don't have first round talent. Oh, let's get a dual threat quarterback that can kill it with his legs and kill it with his arm and make kind of just one read, maybe at times 2 reads, simplify the game. And guess what? That's what he's been doing. And he's never not gotten a championship. And they fucked up the Memphis Showboats, as I predicted. I know, J Mark, you went against us. Me and CJ were on the Birmingham Stallions there.
It was my lock.
Yeah, mine too. Your thoughts on the game, J Mark, before we get to me and CJ touting and talking shit.
Yeah, I tried to get too cute here. Obviously, I won't fade the former Cornhusker transfer again, Adrian Martinez. But no, what can you say aside from the fact that Skip Holtz is the best coach in this league? He's running the best offensive scheme and defensive scheme in this league. And yeah. I think this is probably the last week you're going to get them at plus money to win the championship. They're plus 155 on DraftKings. I think they're going to be favored or at least around that plus 100 going forward. And it's just going to keep dropping because I don't think anybody's going to beat them unless it's a random one-off game that happens.
Yeah. And maybe they sit the players before the playoffs or something, but as far as in the playoffs, I don't think they can because, and by the way, this is even scarier. So last year, the first year he didn't have John Chavez, the legendary SEC defensive coordinator. He did last year. And one of the things that stands out to me with, condensing 8 teams, essentially, they were able to get Marvin Wilson and some other guys on this defensive line. This defensive line, I actually think, is better than the Panthers defensive line. Now, maybe make a case on the Panthers linebacking core being better, but this might be the best defense in the league. I think it's right there in the conversation. And when you add that to a quarterback room that, to me, you have 3 quarterbacks that are better than, I know I was texting you this. I was like, Birmingham's got 3 quarterbacks that are better than any of the quarterbacks for like Michigan or Houston or like multiple teams in this league. I think you could even present it as Memphis too, or San Antonio. But they're gonna fuck up everyone they play. The scouting that Skip, like whether it's Marable, whether it's Ricky Persons Jr., whether it's Marlon Williams, whether they have Sternberger, they have so many options. They're the most complete team in this league. What is the weakness? There is no weakness of this team. They're going to fucking dominate the whole league. I'd be shocked if they don't win a championship. CJ?
Yes, I'd say it's not. I don't even think it's debatable. I think their defensive line is better than Michigan's. I mean,
8 sacks? Didn't they have 8 fucking sacks? Yeah,
anyway. seven or 8. Yeah, the last game they have 17 on the year. And Skip Holtz said during training camp, I think he didn't know when he first started coaching this team that it was his offensive line this bad or was his defensive line this good, and it turns out the defensive line is
but that's something though. Look, he coached at ECU for a long time, and he left ECU after a great season where they knocked off 2 top 10 teams, right? And one of the strengths of ECU always under Skip Holtz, in my opinion, was the defensive line. We always had a super physical fucking defensive line, and it's evident already, in the new UFL that he's brought over. I think they're even better than the previous 2 years on the defensive line. Previous 2 years they were solid, but this year's defensive line, they look fucking loaded.
Yeah, like as you said, maybe a shorter, bigger talent pool to get from, but yeah, they have the best defensive line in the league. They shut down. I mean, they look just absolutely dominant. They're just overwhelming. As far as betting, not to tout too much, I did lock up on the show Birmingham, the -7.5,
and the over we took, right?
And the over,
yeah.
And a fun little gambling story here. I had my never in doubt sweat because I was traumatized so much by the earlier game of the onside kick rule and having Arlington. I had Arlington all over the place. And for them to lose in that fashion in DC, I said, I'm never again. I swore off the league. I go, never again. I put myself in the hands of this goddamn rule. So I took Birmingham first half -3.5. I go, I'm not dealing with that bullshit at the end. And here we are, the 3-point game with 7 seconds to go. And after another field goal, I haven't seen a kicker miss a field goal yet in this goddamn league. So 13-10. I'm like,
we got to talk about that, but hold on. Yeah, continue. Yeah,
I'm going to miss it. And then somehow, amazingly, they get the ball with 7 seconds to go. I think they're going to take a knee. You see Martinez goes, let's fuck it. Why not? These guys look up. Fly pattern to Deion, not to Deion Kane.
Kane, right?
Kane's on.
Oh, that was Ricky Person Jr., right? That was Ricky.
Yeah. Right down the sideline, and then blew it, hit the field goal to make it 16-10. Never a doubt. Covered with a miracle big. I would have fucking hated myself if I had Birmingham first. I also had full game, but I chopped it up a little bit. So, absolutely incredible. It was because of that dumb rule. But I will say this too, just to go back to that dumb rule. I put it on myself because that closing line was 2.5. Arlington -2.5, and when I went back to bet it, I already had a -1. I'm like, I'm gonna do the money line just in case. So then when DC scored, I'm like, I hope they get this too. So Arlington wins by 2. So I'll think I'm smarter for taking the money line and all those suckers who took 2.5 aren't as sharp as me lost. And that happened. I'm like, yes. And then they got that onside kick, and I was like, now we got a problem. 14-12. Maybe I wish I didn't root for that as much as well because now a field goal is gonna take me out.
Now we got a problem.
Look, but hold on. Going back to the game, and by the way, the kicking in this league, look,
amazing.
I understand the USFL didn't have. They had Ford Field, right? That was one dome they had previously, but the XFL struggled with both leagues struggled with kicking, and all of a sudden, the only missed kick I remember is DC. Didn't DC miss one in week 1? Like, I think that was the only one I fucking remember that was a missed field goal. Every other kick is like a 55-yarder. That's good. I don't know what the hell's happening.
It's because they took the chip out of the ball.
It's because they took the chip. Yeah, they took the chip out of the ball. There we go.
They got the chip, right?
Hold on, but just to key in on this. So Birmingham had 424 yards of offense. They got 8 yards of play. Memphis had 212. To give you an idea, folks, that is not that far off. Those yardage that's not that far off, like a yardage discrepancy from that game and the earlier game. And the earlier game, the team with the less yards won. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're talking 25, 30 yards, the difference here. And both games, we know teams clearly dominated. That would be like Birmingham losing this fucking game. Stallions are just a wagon though, man. I mean,
yeah.
I don't see anyone knocking them off, man. J Mark, your thoughts on, I mean, I guess do you want to add anything else to this? I know I went to you already, but
no, while you guys were talking, I found it at plus 170 at FanDuel. So shop around, get the best line, and take the Stallions to win the championship now, because it's just going to keep dropping. This is the best odds you're going to get.
You can't even say if like this is like it reminds me of like to date myself, Joe Gibbs with Redskins, because it was like if Martinez gets injured, they have Corral. If Corral gets injured, guess what? They have Jamar Smith, who won the fucking championship 2 years ago. So I don't even see how you're going to lose. Like they have to play a fucking awful game. And I will say this though, the second best team is going to be in that division. So that would be the way that they lose. But I don't even think, because it'll be in Birmingham, there's no way they're going to lose, dude. There's no way that they're going to, you want to crown them? Crown them. All right. And I will give them the UFL champions, 2024 UFL champions, the Birmingham Stallions. Can we trade one of those quarterbacks? Let's talk about this. We saw Luis Perez, and that was so funny watching these fucking announcers say, well, they won it last year. You know, once they got Luis Perez, didn't hint at the fact, you know, that was kind of a bogus championship. But is there any chance you guys think we see Matt Corral traded for like a linebacker that has one tackle on the season elsewhere? Because I see so many teams could use Matt Corral. He's better than almost every quarterback in the league, in my opinion. Outside of Birmingham, I guess McCarron's you'd maybe rank higher, but besides him, where would you put Matt Corral on that list of quarterbacks? And
well, he's not. I don't know. He's no Luis Perez, but you throw him on. I mean, DC will never switch up, but I mean, you throw him on any of those bottom three teams. You know, during the championship game.
I mean, you put him on Michigan. You put him on Michigan. I mean, and AJ Perry played great. We'll talk about that, but yeah, actually, that's a good segue. That's a good segue. Let's go to that game.
Let's keep moving.
This is one I feel good. I know. You know, I was on the SGP show.
This is fraudulent. This whole game is fraudulent. I don't care what you said in SGP.
Oh, fuck you.
Perry's a fraud. This Michigan team's a fraud. Houston should have won this game.
What?
I mean, God, put a spy on the fucking guy. My God, Perry, every time there's any kind of play, if he can't throw the ball over 5 yards, that's it. 5 yards and under he's got, and then he's just running every single time.
I'm just
keeping the hater episode up. That's all. They look great. They look.
Yeah,
great.
I'm about to say, if you take away the first drive where Houston goes down and scores, and obviously you know most times that's your first drive scripted. You've practiced that all week. That was the only time I was concerned. I was like, whoa. After that, Michigan fucked them up, I thought.
And that pick didn't help either. The one deflected pick there and there.
Yeah. But how about Michigan? Look, we talk a lot of shit about EJ Perry, but 10.4 yards of pass. And by the way,
Perry was great.
34 points, the most anyone scored in this league.
Yeah, they crushed our under, by the way. Our under that might have been our favorite play of the week of the whole slate was the under this Michigan game. But I'm all credit to Perry for sure.
But hey, man,
God, put a spy on him.
He was
killing him on the ground. I mean, just fucking killing him.
No, the worst coach.
Michigan.
The worst coach.
Nothing, but like, he's so bad. And J Mark called that out in our chat. He's like, wait, he's the worst coach, and that's saying a lot in this league.
Well, I still want someone, because the announcer backed him. So they're down.
Oh, so hilarious.
They're down 14 points, right? If you go for the one.
20, I think. Whatever.
No. But in this game, there was a spot. They're down 14. If he goes for the 1 point conversion, which cuts it to a 13-point game, and the play-by-play guy, or I guess the other analyst with him goes, wait, why would he go for one here? Because you can get 9 and 3 is 12, right? And the play-by-play guy goes, well, no, it makes sense that Curtis Johnson go for one here. And I'm still confused about this. Does this make why would you go for one? I still don't understand what his point was. It's almost like the announcer didn't know the rules, because it's like, wait, if you get 9, you get 3. That's the most, like, what is the benefit of the 1 point? Do you know what I'm talking about? Did that make any sense to you guys?
No.
Well, you're down what? They're down 14.
And he went for a 1, whereas a 2 is only 2 yards back, and it cuts it to a touchdown, 3-point conversion, and a field goal away from being tied. Whereas if you go
9 plus 3 is 12, and they're down 14. So you're still.
That's why you go for 2, though. That's why you don't go for 1. If
no,
you go for
I
2,
definitely say go for 2 anyway, for sure. But the best was his explanation of it. His explanation of like, if we miss it, it's 6 and 6 is 12. Then a field goal beats them. Then we get 15. Like, what? You're trying to, you're planning on failing? That's what the player was.
Well, it's CJ. But also my point is, in the beginning, the announcer was advocating that you should go for 1 to cut it to 13. And I go, what does 13 do for anybody? 13 means nothing in this league. Right. Exactly. But yes, that was great when he answers, well, 6 and 6 is 12. It's like,
and what's genius about it too, what's genius about it is if you do miss it, let's say you go for 2 to make, or go for 3, whatever it is, because you want to make it 12, like you should have. And if you miss it, you can always recover in your next touchdown by going for 3,
which
you
he didn't.
Bring it back, which he didn't. No.
That was my favorite part is there's like, they go on a 7-minute drive.
Yeah.
Right. They score, and it's like, okay, so now they got 6 minutes left. Right. What do? We're going to kick deep.
His explanation was incredible.
I mean, dude, Michigan was dominating. But I was trying to say is that I had this power ranked as the second. Me and J Mark had this power ranked as the second best team. And after seeing Birmingham dominate both teams that other than Michigan that they've played, I feel better about that. And I still feel like they're better than St. Louis. I feel pretty fucking. Dude, they beat St. Louis head to head. They averaged 5.1 yards a rush.
No, you're right. I mean, no, there's definitely an argument for it, but let's also say Houston is the worst team in the league. We known coming into that, and we know that coming out of it. And even though Houston was a little fired up early on, I mean, like I said, it's always tough going against a winless team. I don't think EJ Perry can repeat that. To be honest with you,
but the one thing I thought was Houston's defense was decent. EJ Perry's looking like fucking Johnny U back there. J Mark, your thoughts on the game?
Well, did June Jones want nothing to do with this league? Because he was the Houston Roughnecks coach in 2020. Why do they not have him as a coach?
I think he wanted to, because he was with Seattle last year. Remember, June Jones was.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't they ask him? How did this guy get the job? He's not a good coach. Every time he talks, it's like, what the fuck is he saying?
6 plus 6 is 12.
His quotes are
I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the guy. I'm sure he's a nice enough guy, but what? How?
The montage of him just looking for an iPad. Have you seen that on the tweet? I was like, give me an iPad. I need an iPad. Well, where's an iPad at? No one wants to give him a fucking iPad. It's amazing.
I hate I feel like the announcer was just like, he's been taught to just go with whatever the league is. She's like, no, it makes sense. He's going for the 1 13-point game. And how does the other announcer not say, what are you talking about? I want to see what does 13 get you in this league? It gets you nothing. 12 is the magic number. 9 is the magic number. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, if EJ Perry can go 16 for 19, only miss on 3 passes and run around, Michigan's still going to be the second best team in the league.
Well, and I'll tell you this, man. I know we base a lot of our EJ Perry shit on last season. The wideouts are way better this year than last year, in my opinion.
They are, but I'll say this. I mean, he threw for what? 208 yards that game.
Yep.
Take away that 6. I don't even say take away, but the one touchdown was a check down to Sims.
True.
And he broke it. He broke it for 66. He just broke 4 fucking tackles like it was Pop Warner and just went right through all. It looked terrible. It looked like an MTV Rock and Jock game with Cordell Stewart shaking the drummer from Hootie and the Blowfish or something, just blowing by these guys. And it was 66 yards. You take that away, so now you're looking at a 140-yard game. I mean, he's great in the short to intermediate passing. If he has to go downfield, it's trouble. But he's got spunk. He's got running. I think if they put a spy on him, I don't know. I think I'm a little more worried about Perry repeating that than I am.
Fair. But I was impressed by Houston's defense thus far. I thought their offense was the downside. So like to me to do that, and I get it, but 10.4 yards of completion. I know that pass. Okay, he pulled a Barry Sanders and he broke, but still, you average 10.4 yards of completion in these spring leagues. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in these fucking spring leagues.
He was great.
So I mean, you got to reward him a little bit there.
I did. He was great. I'm just keeping the hater episode going. That's all.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add on this game? Another. Didn't he make like another 60 yarder or some shit? Or was it a 58 yarder? I don't remember. All right. Yeah, it was like a 55 yarder, I think. The kick, the stud kicker.
The kicker.
Bates.
Oh, the kicker. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Then they show Mike Nolan. Hey, can you do it, Jake? Buddy, what can you say? They have him mic'd up for halftime. Someone get me Jake. Jake, what do you say? Can you do it? Yeah. No, it's my job. I'm ready.
Yeah. And another thing though is Matt Colburn. He was a guy that I was high on with the Philadelphia Stars. He missed the first week, and he might have missed the second week too. I know for sure he was out the first week. He is another difference maker to me that helps this offense because he's a great back out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he's just elusive enough on the ground where he can make this team a lot better. So, and shout out to the chat once again, youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. I see everyone in here. Beers is still laughing at you, CJ from the Masters.
Yes.
Rockford says, love these guys. I wish y'all covered NBA and MLB as well. You guys outshine all of the SGPN brothers. Keep it up. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Even though it's true, you don't have to say that.
Oh man, 6 plus 6 is 12 though.
6 plus 6 is 12. So we do it because if we fail, then we're set up for victory with a field goal.
Well, no, it's like he's not. It's just hilarious to me. 6, but he was going for 13 points. So he's even he hasn't done the math correctly besides his own 6 for 6. Anyway, let's talk about the nightcap, the Battlehawks and the Brahmas. Now this one almost got fucked in my opinion. I was terrified of like the end of the game here. I had to run out to the store and this is another one where like the Brahmas added on yards. They actually outgained St. Louis by 6 or 7 yards. But a lot of that is this bullshit of them being able to have the comeback mode. I thought we were due for another one. I thought it was going to happen here. St. Louis gets it done. I know you jackasses were on this fake ass San Antonio team that I still say is not a good fucking team.
I was on St. Louis. What are you talking about?
Were you? Okay,
I was on the Brahmas.
J-Mark's the one who betrayed his own team. He's the one who went to the Brahmas. Jinx. Yeah, I almost locked up St. Louis.
That's true. Okay, me and you were on St. Louis. Sorry, CJ. Maybe it was the other show.
Jesus.
You know, but San Antonio. How about they got that air raid offense? 3.8 yards of completion. I'm sorry, EJ Perry's looking like fucking God over there. Compared 3 point, I didn't know that was possible.
Right.
I didn't know that was like. Honestly, I watched a shit ton of football in my life. 3.8 yards is every play a fucking screen? Even with that, you would think you'd be able to break one.
Against a terrible St. Louis defense. Still.
I know.
Dude, I mean, that's the thing. You think for 158 yards, Chase Garbers, what in the good God.
There was a classic Anthony Beck mic'd up talking to his defensive coordinator. He's like, you know what? I can smell a turnover coming. And he never got that turnover at that point, but I just love that was he's like, he's talking to the former Jets corner and Bucks corner, Donnie Abram. And he's like, Donnie, I smell a turnover coming this possession. I smell it.
Yeah. That's that Stromboli in your pocket, Tony Meatballs. You put a Stromboli in your chest pocket. That's what you're smelling.
Hey, St. Louis looked good, but I think they're both pussy teams though, man. Like St. Louis deserves like they're a pussy team. The way they like, I think Michigan can fuck them up if they play like I don't think they need a last second 64-yard field goal. I want them to play. I'm not sure if they play again or not, but I think the style of ball that they play, I think they could be a little counterfeit. Now I still think power ranking wise, you got to have them at the top after Birmingham and Michigan because they do look better than the rest of the league right now. But did you come away super impressed with the Battlehawks here? J Mark, I know you got season tickets to the Battlehawks, and you love the city of St. Louis, but you do hate Nelly like me. Your thoughts on the game?
I came away more unimpressed with the Brahmas and with AJ Smith. This guy, I just feel like he can't coach well in a league where he's going to be interviewed and on TV a lot because he gets this ego where he thinks, oh, I'm the smartest guy on the field here. Like, oh, we're taking what the defense gives us. So if we got to run the ball, we got to run the ball. Guess what? You're down by 13 fucking points. Don't run 6 minutes off the clock. What are you doing? Like, to me, that's what lost the game for him. They had the Battlehawks. They had them. The backs were against the wall. The defense was tired. But then they just keep running the ball and draining the clock, and they didn't leave themselves enough time. That blew my mind. I don't understand why.
Well, dude, there's a world where they could easily be 0-3. Like that DC game got off the rails from a score perspective, but that was a pretty even game, I felt like. And then we know they should have lost at Memphis last week. So like they're even more phony. Like I'm convinced St. Louis is a way better team than San Antonio. You know what I mean? Like even moving forward, because they're both kind of finesse teams, and I think St. Louis's skill position players are so much better.
I will say
San Antonio did outgain them.
Yeah, I mean, San Antonio did good, and they had to come back. How about when Wade Phillips hilarious when they scored and then they kicked it off with there's 2 minutes to go or 2.5 minutes to go, and they interviewed Wade. Wade, why didn't you go? Why didn't you go for the 4th and 12? Don't you know how easy that is? What are you doing? He's like, 3 timeouts. We have 3 timeouts. Just screams at him, and they got luck box.
They actually timeout. Yeah, 2:01, right?
Yeah, they get the 2:01. They did get the stop. They somehow got the ball back, and then the defense shut it down. But the rest, who cares if you have 3 timeouts? It's not worth the risk when you can do a 4th and 12 and get this ball now when this defense is tired instead of giving them a rest. But real quick, St. Louis, of course, was the play. Like you just broke it down. San Antonio was overvalued with those 2 losses, but either way, kind of saying a DFS situation that we all give out DFS lines, how frustrating it is to play in this league. Because I mean, Jacob Sailors is all of a sudden the RB1 for St. Louis. So he comes out of nowhere. I mean, we had Durant the week before, like, oh, this is great. They finally got a real running back. We're going to play him. And he doesn't fucking play at all. And then they get this new guy.
Hey, we gave away a DFS lineup.
Touchdown.
We gave away a DFS lineup. I made 38 American. All right. Now,
Gorgeous.
Durant.
But I'm just saying, they just Durant, and then he doesn't fucking play. And then they bring in Sailors. So, like, what's going on out there?
Well,
how about heads up?
Well, no, this is my problem kind of with their makeup of their team. And I actually would raise it one higher and say McFarland on the other side. Each week I get to see this shit. Love it. 12 carries, 41 yards, 3.4 yards a carry. Oh, McFarland, 9 rushes, 39 yards, 4.3 yards a carry. Both scored touchdowns. McFarland also had 24 yards receiving. He's on the wrong team. They don't know how to use him. And I would say Durant, if I'm Durant, I would want to be like these 2 teams are too pass heavy. And when they're this pass heavy, when you have really talented running backs, and I think Durant's even more so great out of the backfield. Yeah. So maybe in that regard, he does kind of fit St. Louis because he can catch. But McFarland to me is like one where you're watching, I think, the best running back in the league who's on the wrong team. I just think it's unfortunate you got drafted by San Antonio because that's one. Can we get that trade? Put him on Michigan and they'll win the championship. You know what I mean? Put him on some team that wants to commit to running the fucking ball. I don't understand it. Each week their stats favor McFarland here. Anyway, power rankings. Number 1.
Let's get through them.
Number 8.
I'm getting text from headquarters here.
Number 8. Let's go 8. It's
Houston across the board.
Yeah.
We don't have to do 8 and 1. 8's Houston, 1's Birmingham. Let's do 2 through 7, right?
Yeah, let's go 2 through 7. But yeah, Birmingham is 1. 7 for me is the DC Defenders.
7. Jesus Christmas. DC Defenders. That's very aggressive.
They're not good, man. How do you watch these games and say they're good? Like, I'm not saying they're bad, but they're better than Houston, and they beat Houston, but they have no business having another win.
They had a tough game last week, that's for sure, but they pulled out the win. I'm not even talking about that. The week before, another one. But yeah, they beat Houston at home, and then even now week 1, they moved the ball and they just kicked some field goals. Whatever. I'm not going to fight. You want to take DC at 7? Fine.
Who's your 7? Who's your 7?
I took these San Antonio Brahmas. Fuck these. I
think it's close. It's close. It's very close. J Mark, who's your 7?
Yeah, sorry, CJ. I got DC at 7 as well.
Oh my God, that's insane. Anyway, go ahead.
Great minds think alike. At number 6, I do have the San Antonio Brahmas. 2-1.
Yeah.
2-1 with this bullshit. Both those teams have bullshit 2-1 records. My 6 and 7 teams, my 6th and 7th place teams are 2-1 with this bullshit comeback that's diluting the whole fucking league. Yeah. San Antonio's not any good. They're not any good. They're predictable as fuck. They don't commit to they have some very talented players that they don't give the ball to. Their defense is trash. Wade Phillips doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Yeah. Who's your 6, CJ?
6 is Memphis Showboats.
Oh my God.
Your guys' love for Memphis is I don't understand it. I mean, Deion Kane had more receiving yards than Case Cook is through.
Well, I mean, they're Birmingham. They're fucking Birmingham. That's what they did. That was the home opener. That was the home opener at Penetrope Stadium. Of course they're going to dominate. J Mark, who you got at number 6?
No, I'm aligned with CJ here. I got Showboats at 6. They can't run the ball. They're terrible at running the ball.
They can't run the ball. Cooked. They should have beaten San Antonio. They were running the ball fine that game.
I ranked them ahead of San Antonio, even though San Antonio beat them.
Well, my point is that they played Birmingham and they played Houston, right? They beat Houston, never trailed that game. Now, yes, they had a hard time running the ball that day, but you played Birmingham. You got fucked up. You played Birmingham, and no one else has played Birmingham in Birmingham on Alex McGo night. Okay. All right. Let alone, Alex McGo night. Don't forget, he was signing autographs
in front of the 500 fans that got lost on the way to the Alabama spring game.
Honey, that's gotta be the game. I see the lights from here. All right.
Let's move on. Number 5.
Wow. Number 5. Well, after all that shit talking, I do have Memphis number 5.
Yeah.
All right. They're number 5 to me. I still think their roster is better than a lot of other rosters.
Okay.
And I actually think with a little like they could very well be better than St. Louis. I trust their defense way more than St. Louis's.
You're absolutely crazy. All right.
Okay.
Their secondary average is a nice stat. 18 yards per completion in the law. That's secondary last week.
Against Birmingham, dude.
I know, Birmingham. It's the first time they scored over 30 points, by the way. Anyway.
First time Adrian Martinez started for him.
Fair enough. I have DC at 5. My DC defenders. So you guys would have a 12 if possible.
This guy
if you could add on some teams. They are 2-1. They didn't overcome a 10-point deficit. They played by the rules that's in front of them.
Dan Marino and his really dynamic wife.
I'll say this for I will say this for DC, and we know the stats. We don't have to bring up the yardage stats. When they did get to the red zone, they scored touchdowns, and that was a problem with them week 1. That's the reason why they lost week 1. They cleaned that up. They were efficient when it got down there in Barlow. They do have.
I want DC to be good, but their team sucks.
All right, they're better.
I want them to be good.
Okay. No, hey, we got to move on. I
got Brahmas at 5.
All right, Brahmas. Jesus.
All right. At 4,
you guys are lunatics having Brahmas.
I got them Arlington Renegades at 4.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Oh, look at this.
I do too.
All right, unanimous. At
we
number
all
3,
we all have Arlington at 4. The 0-3 Arlington Renegades. I love it.
What a league! What a fucking league! At number 3,
that's just for Reddit. Go ahead and feast on that Reddit.
At number 3, I got the St. Louis battle bitches. You know what I mean? Let's go. They got me that dub.
Good
Tony
job.
Meatball. He's got a feeling that he could smell a turnover. Maybe he could smell me picking him 3rd in the UFL.
I feel we're reverse. I'm sure J Mark has the same thing. Well, who knows the way he likes St. Louis. I have St. Louis 2 and I have Michigan 3. I think Michigan good job. Michigan looked great, but EJ Perry will not be able to repeat that. All you need is a spy and someone who guards over 5 yards.
If only they played head to head. J Mark, what are you doing here?
70-yard field goal. We got it.
Third, I do have Battlehawks, and they're about to get the best weapon in the UFL back from injury. And then second, I have Michigan.
Ja'Cour Pearson, he's referring to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, 2, I have Michigan, and obviously, you have St. Louis at 2, and
well, head to head means absolutely nothing in our power rankings. Record means nothing. Head to head means even less.
It's true. 0-3.
Right.
They're not that far from being better than the Stallions. Are these Renegades?
Yeah.
No. What's up?
I was saying, and anytime anyone wins because of the onside kick, we rank them away from each other as much as possible as a protest, with the loser always being like 5 spots higher than whoever they just beat them.
All right, folks, get on over there. That's our show.
Get out of here.
Subscribe to the UFL Gambling Podcast wherever podcasts can be found. Remember, youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. J Mark is on Twitter at JMarkFootball. Check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Obviously, NFL draft around the corner. You also have CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective. Give him a follow on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _. Check out the Bottom Line Bombs Podcast. And remember, if you're in Milwaukee or Chicago, right? Aren't you doing Chicago too? Get out
Monday and Wednesday. Yep.
Check out a comedy show from the Bet Detective Live. And check out myself on Twitter at TheColbyD, host of the College Football Experience and the FCS College Football Experience. Check out all that shit. We're good to go. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast coming up next. Until next time, folks, this is the UFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot.
I gotta let them in. They're bursting at the seams.